This is the eHealth Radio Network, your source for health advice on demand. And now your host, Eric Michaels.
Thanks for joining us once again here on the eHealth Radio Network. This is your host, Eric Michaels. eHealth Radio gives you the most current health information, news, and advice featuring some of the leading innovators in healthcare and wellness who are changing healthcare as we know it. For more eHealth Radio reports, we invite you to visit our main radio channel site at eHealthRadioNetwork.com. Today we're speaking with Ernesto Lizardi, the Vice President of Clinical Laboratories Operations and Senior R&D Molecular Scientist for Discover Labs, located in Austin, Texas. And Mr. Lizardi, thanks for joining us here today on eHealth Radio.
Thank you for having me. We're excited for this.
You bet, and certainly looking forward to hearing from you, and really do appreciate your time as well. So if you would, tell us about Discover Labs and how the company began.
All right. Discover Labs started at the beginning of the pandemic, COVID-19, of course. We wanted to aim the fight against the virus by providing nationwide access to RT-PCR, which is the gold standard, and not many people could offer it at that point. So Discover Labs started by marketing these tests to groups in need, such as long-term care facilities, drug testing, rehabilitation centers, big companies that needed a higher volume with a faster turnaround time, couldn't get it anywhere else. So we started to help with that. We noticed that we have a great customer service team, and we tried to expand on that by implementing a 24-hour customer service team, which it went great. And a lot of crazy stuff was happening at this point. So one example for us is that we were sending personnel that was working on the company across the country with supplies to make sure our clients could have the supplies that they needed to do this testing in their individual deadlines. And despite all this success, which we were doing great, we were killing it, but at this point we didn't have the laboratory parts. So the company was a little frustrated with the inability to control the lab part. So we couldn't control how fast they were turning around the test or the quality or any question that we have. We were a little frustrated with that. So that's what led the company to start Discover Labs with the actual testing on our side. So we were trying to get this ready for the winter surge. So the construction in Austin actually started in late July. And then we got everything by September, and we worked on everything. And by November, we finished our clinical validation for the test. So we had the test in-house, and we were able to open our doors for the laboratory side. And since we opened, we were able to control the process from beginning to end, beginning meaning collections, the customer service, providing the supplies, and the end to the testing and reporting of the results. And we are really happy how everything's turned out, and we still committed to provide the fast and reliable test results that people are wanting.
Certainly a fantastic report, and certainly appreciate the thorough coverage on that as well. Now, what services does Discover Labs offer? Get into that further if you would.
So, of course, we have COVID-19 testing. This is going to be molecular real-time PCR, which is the gold standard to this day still. We have respiratory pathogen for this next respiratory season. We have urinary tract infections, women's health, wound infections panels. All these are molecular panels to provide all the needs that any of our clients might have besides COVID. We actually have some blood testing that we can offer as well.
And without a doubt, you're making an impact in the space, and we're appreciative of that as well. Now, how long does it actually take to get the test results?
So usually, our best bet is less than 24 hours. But if you are, we are located in Austin for the lab part, but if you are in New York and you send the results that afternoon or that night, we will get the samples by the next morning. And once we receive those samples, typically within 8 to 12 hours from receipt, we can provide the results back to you.
That's not bad at all on the turnaround. Good stuff there. Today we're speaking with Ernesto Lizardi, the Vice President of Clinical Laboratories Operations and Senior R&D Molecular Scientist for Discover Labs, located in Austin, Texas, here on eHealth Radio's COVID-19 information and health news channels, a part of the eHealth Radio Network. Now, continuing on, I heard you and the team at Discover provided instrumental testing services to many organizations during the course of the pandemic. Give us some more highlights on that, if you would.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you heard about the crazy winter storm in Texas in February, which it wasn't that crazy, but Texas is not prepared for any of that. And we have a couple inches of snow. The electricity went off everywhere, and most labs had to shut down because of this issue right here. And at this point, we have a lot of customers from California, and UPS and FedEx would shut down. So we have some personnel from California driving these packages that we pick up from FedEx and UPS on Sprinter vans down to Austin to make sure we can get this test on time and provide the turnaround time. And then while that was going on here in Austin, we have the laboratory supervisors who's picking up staff members on pickup trucks, 4x4s, to make sure we have personnel in the lab. And because of the delay, we also have all the employees who's willing to stay later and provide the 12-hour turnaround time despite all this craziness going on. So that's a pretty good highlight from the lab, and we are pretty proud of our staff for making this happen as well.
Yeah, certainly some challenges with that big winter storm that came through there in February. Now, also, where can clinicians, doctors, and nursing homes that are tuning in today or representatives get more information accordingly?
They can go to our website. It's going to be discover-labs.com, or they can reach us by phone by calling at 323-747-7509.
And that certainly is easy enough, and we'll leave links and information within the show notes of this broadcast as well. Mr. Lizardi, all the best. Thanks so much for what you do and for joining us here today on eHealth Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.
And you're certainly more than welcome. Our pleasure. We've been speaking with Ernesto Lizardi, the Vice President of Clinical Laboratories, Operations, and Senior R&D Molecular Scientist for Discover Labs, located in Austin, Texas. And for all the details, visit discover-labs.com. And again, this has been your host, Eric Michaels, and we do thank you for your continued support of the eHealth Radio Network. Join us again soon for another episode that will help further expand your knowledge on those things that are important to your health and wellness. For more eHealth Radio reports, we invite you to visit our main radio channel site at eHealthRadioNetwork.com. And as always, we do thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to the eHealth Radio Network. For more information or to subscribe to this podcast, visit eHealthRadioNetwork.com.